word to wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What's up, everyone? Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to take some time to talk about this awesome YA comic called Joystick Angels. Joystick Angels is about 5 teenage space pilots who come together after an evil alien empire has destroyed the Earth, and they take it upon themselves to form this squadron of space pilots to stop the Earth's destroyers once and for all. This comic is really interesting and amazing. It is this nice love letter to 90s comics and anime. It's got this whole space opera vibe. And one of the things that I dug about it the most is the fact that it's largely a Black and POC cast of characters that you don't normally see in these types of comics or situations. This comic was co-written by Ray Comics president and founder TJ Sterling, as well as his brother, who some may know as music producer and Mit Music founder Spencer Sterling. And the thing that just really sent this home for me is the fact that you can see the love that these two had for the comics and anime of the 90s just in this work alone. Joystick Angels has a Kickstarter campaign that is live right now until June the 12th. And though they've already reached their funding for Joystick Angels #1, we're still trying to raise money to hit all those stretch goals and also ensure Joystick Angels #2 can be made possible. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, go check it out. They have all kinds of awesome perks and add-ons and things that you can get. You can get official music soundtrack, both digital and an actual physical copy. You can get all kinds of awesome variant covers, and they even have merch like t-shirts and stuff. So just, yeah, go check it out. It's really awesome. That said, if you have time, go swing by the campaign, go check it out. Click the link that I'm gonna have in the pinned comment in the description below so you can go see what Joystick Angels has to offer. And if you like what you see, I humbly ask that you back this project and help make Joystick Angels a thing and bring it to a much bigger audience. Now, with that said, let's get on to the video. What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we are going to be talking about X-Men #21 by Jonathan Hickman, Nick Dragotta, Russell Dodderman, Lucas Wernick, and Sarah Pacelli. And in this video, we are going to learn a lot of Sinister secrets that are going to directly inform on all future X-Men related storylines, probably for the foreseeable future, as well as witnessing the GOAT of Atlantis, the Master of Shade, reveal his true thoughts about an alliance with Krakoa. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know right off rip a lot of the stuff that we are going to process in this issue. There's so much to process, but all of the stuff we're going to process in this issue is really big, and I don't want to spend too much time focusing on the fluff and the pomp and circumstance of the Hellfire Gala. Just know that throughout the course of this book, you are going to see tons, and I mean tons, of cameos. I can't say enough how many cameos you're going to see in this, but just know that you will see everyone from Eminem to Method Man to George R.R. Martin to, once again, seeing famous married couple Patton Oswalt and Meredith Salinger. You'll even see Mark Maron, and of course, we will also see the GOAT of the MCU, the architect, if you will, Kevin Feige. And I'm gonna go to right now. Let's go ahead and put this to bed right now. No, this is not setting up the X-Men in the MCU. Stop. Just stop. Don't do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. I see what you're thinking right now. You guys thinking right now. There's probably somebody somewhere, tons of you sitting here right now thinking, preparing questions for next week's Blerd Cave, talking about, oh man, I can't wait to ask Ernie what he thinks about how this sets up the X-Men in the MCU. Guess what? I don't think it does at all. This is literally just a wink and a nod. Just accept it for what it is. One thing I will say that is actually very interesting about the whole Kevin Feige Cyclops moment is that when he asked him, what's his story? I do appreciate how Cyclops, in his own words, basically says that he followed Xavier for so long and deified Xavier because Xavier's dream was so potent and it felt like such an amazing thing that it kind of became his own dream, that he didn't have a dream of his own, only to realize that, no, this isn't necessarily necessarily what I want. I actually think I want something different in that to treat Charles as though he was some kind of a god was not right, because no one is perfect. Even going as far as to say that we are all flawed and imperfect, and that there's no real difference between any of us, no matter how much we believe the lie that there is. Charles Xavier was literally just a man. He wasn't a god, he wasn't a savior, he wasn't a hero, he wasn't a villain. He was literally just a man. And that while he still finds validity in Charles's dream, he also finds validity in a lot of other people's dreams, that everyone has a right to their dream and their opinion. It was a very interesting thing, and I think that while I wasn't necessarily crazy about the whole Kevin Feige part, no shade on Kevin Feige, I just thought it was kind of shoehorned in, but I did think it was a very interesting exchange that Cyclops got to tell Kevin Feige, and more importantly the reader, why he feels the way he feels, and why now more than ever he is proud to be an X-Man. And this also kind of cements the fact, that he's bringing the X-Men back for this very reason, that he believes in something, and he wants to show the world that they can believe too. Anyways, moving on, two things that are of importance in this issue are going to be the reveal of the X-Men roster and the Red Diamond's Sinister secrets. First things first, the X-Men have been officially announced in universe. We've known for quite some time, being readers, but it is now officially official. I don't think it really needed this level of pageantry, since we all kind of knew about this anyway. We all know that Cyclops and Marvel Girl are going to be leading this new team of Sync, Wolverine, Polaris, Sunfire, and Rogue as the new X-Men to represent Krakoa. But I did appreciate the in-story method of how everyone voted, with Jean connecting every mutant's mind in the world and having them reveal to everyone else why they would want to be an X-Man, and then having everyone else vote based on everyone else's answers. It was very cool and very elegant, but we already knew this was going to happen, so it's not that big a deal to me. The real story here lies in the Red Diamond section of Sinister Secrets. As we're going to, kind of run through these one by one, and I'll kind of break down what I think of each of these secrets, and hopefully try and give you an idea what's going to happen. So, Sinister Secret number 51. This Quiet Council member isn't actually fooling anyone. They're fooling everyone. Wear a mask long enough and eventually it starts wearing you. Such a shame not being able to let things go. Initially, I almost thought this would be more about Charles Xavier, but I actually think this is more in regards to Mystique, considering the fact that, the whole thing with Destiny, Charles Xavier, Magneto not resurrecting Destiny, even though they promised that they would, but because we know secretly behind closed doors, they have promised to Mora X they would not revive any precogs, which is what Destiny is. And I'm not going to rehash it here. I talked about it ad nauseum in my X-Men number 20 video, which I will probably link somewhere in the cards, maybe right around now, if I remember. Mystique has not been able to let this go, and this is something that has kind of plagued her since House of X. Sinister Secret number 52. She doesn't have it yet, but one way or another, this mutant always gets what she wants. Will it be given to her, or will it have to be taken? Doesn't matter. The real question is, what's in the box? Could it be diamonds or something far more valuable? Honestly, I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's probably the head of her lover. I'm joking. It's 2-7 references right there. But no, more specifically, I think this is a direct reference to a later scene in this comic where Emma Frost is meeting with a, quotey fingers, nameless city of a hidden society, one who seems to not care much for mutants and is offended that they even know about their secrets. They seem to hate even being at the gala, but Emma wants something they have, and it's a box, seemingly called the Kara Katukwa. I probably mispronounced it. I don't care. What is inside this thing, I wonder? Who knows, but if Emma Frost wants it, it must be something incredibly important. I don't think that this is some throwaway MacGuffin. This is something that Emma clearly feels that she needs. Sinister Secret number 53 is, I bet you'd like to know how this fittest of all mutant is handling the second genesis of his external life. Sorry, you'll have to wait to find out. Let's go ahead and just put this one to bed. This is very clearly a reference to Apocalypse. This is kind of one of those duh moments. I mean, think about it. The fittest of all mutants, that's Apocalypse's whole shtick. And more importantly, his second genesis, his wife's name is Genesis, who he was reconnected with in Ten of Swords. His external life. Well, Apocalypse is an external, so this is clearly about Apocalypse, letting us know we will definitely be seeing him sometime soon. Sinister secret number 54. Seducer made an honest man of the island's favorite boy. But what unspoken secrets are coursing through the nervous system of the favorite boy's island friend? Are you listening? I know that you are. What I think this is in reference to, this is actually talking about Bay, the Blood Moon, who wields a sword called Seducer, so that's a very clear hint. And the island's favorite boy is clearly Cypher. Something is up with Krakoa, and something tells me this might be a callback to Powers of 10, where the Technarch virus, the transmode virus that Warlock was being worn on as one of Cypher's arms, and when Cypher reached down and touched the vegetation on the island, Warlock started spreading, which leads me to believe that we're probably going to see some Phalanx shenanigans coming soon. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Sinister secret number 55. Regarding secrets and secret alliances and the shadow play that is the great game of nations, just how many ruling councils are there now circling the sun? I'll never tell. But if you say 2, you're definitely too low. After some serious consideration, what I think they're talking about, you have to look at the very specific line. Just how many ruling councils are there now circling the sun? Well, think about it. Orcus, they circle the sun. We also know that Sword, also a technically secret organization, though they are on the Krakoan side of things. Well, they don't always circle the sun, but they definitely have the ability to, and more often than not, we've seen them do it. Maybe this is a nod to the fact that there are other organizations who are also out there beyond the stars and lying in wait to strike. Next up is Sinister secret number 56. And speaking of things that come in twos, 2 empty seats on the Quiet Council are too many. Look for there to be moves made in the filling of those empty seats, regardless of how many favors have to be called in or how many unwise alliances are formed. Just remember, when everyone has a secret, no one can be trusted. This one I actually think is likely in reference to the earlier scene in this comic where Xavier and Magneto tried to woo Namor, the Submariner, into joining the Quiet Council, something that technically has happened before when Xavier originally approached Namor, though he wasn't necessarily asking him to join the Quiet Council. He was basically asking him to come to Krakoa, but something tells me had Namor had come when Xavier called, he probably would have been on the council. Now that said, Namor seems to have little to zero interest in Krakoa. In fact, scratch that. I'd say he hates it. He doesn't want to rule on a council. He wants to rule the world, but something tells me he might be swayed eventually. He seems to leave a door open when he ultimately turns them down and walks towards the Avengers at the gala, claiming to keep his interests divided until it no longer suits him. But something tells me if he's to join, Xavier Magneto may have to let Namor have the very thing he wants so badly, and this would be something that would be in direct opposition, or maybe not direct opposition, but definitely would make things uncomfortable for the mutants on Krakoa, and that is to allow Namor to pretty much have the rest of the world. Secret number 57, for far too long they shared an existence. Now the one has become 2. The first is a shattered captain of a demanding queen, and the second, a sinister sword under a sinister thumb. How long will the second stay there? How many more sinister demands will be too many? No one knows, but I think we're getting close. It's clearly about Quanon and Betsy, how the two have shared a body but no longer do so. More importantly, when talking about a shattered captain, they're referring to when Betsy Braddock, who is now Captain Britain, was shattered when she faced off with Iska the Unbeaten in 10 of Swords. And how she is a captain of a demanding queen, well, that would be her Royal Highness, Queen Opaluna Saturnine. And then the second being the Sinister Sword under a Sinister Thumb, that would be Quanon, and how she works for Mr. Sinister, not necessarily working as far back as Fallen Angels, but she has been working closely with Mr. Sinister, and when the Hellions were formed, well, Mr. Sinister oversees the Hellions, and more specifically, she answers directly to him. And he has been making her do some rather questionable things and things she doesn't want to do. And this is all about how long before Quanon ultimately turns on Sinister after he's pushed her so far so many times. Very likely what will happen is that just as Quanon has recently helped Betsy in the pages of Excalibur getting her affairs in order, Betsy may wind up returning the favor when and if Quanon is ready to take down Sinister. Sinister Secret number 58. It's still the early days of the Vescoran excavation of Blight worlds, but an unknown material of immeasurable worth has begun appearing in the crooked market. So far, the Mad Jasper, this is referring to Mad Jim Jaspers, has snatched up every piece as soon as it's available for trade. But don't you worry, our Confederacy of Capes is set on acquiring some by hook or by crook. Now, this is an allusion to some panels we saw at the end of Ten of Swords, where we witnessed the Vescora unearthing strange crystals in Blightspoke and Sheriff Whitechapel unveiling these on the crooked market. I'm not incredibly sure what's exactly happening here, but this is likely going to wind up either paying dividends in future issues of Excalibur or future issues of Hellions, and I'm actually starting to think it might be the latter rather than the former, because what seems to be going on here when they talk about the Confederacy of Capes, this seems to be in reference to the numerous clones of Sinister and how they're looking for these crystals for whatever reason. This could technically be something that might be an alternative to the Shi'ar logic diamonds that we saw represented in X-Force number 20, the very same logic diamonds that technically store the consciousnesses of mutants. Maybe Sinister is going to use these for some other or similar end. Who knows? The next Sinister Secret, number 59. Promotions are hard to come by when everyone is a resurrected immortal, but sometimes a change has to be made when an unexpected variable is added to the equation. Heroes and their do-gooder ways, always an inconvenience for a practical mutant. Now, this one I'm also a little bit confused by, because this seems to be talk of promotion, and it makes me wonder if someone is angling to move up or simply going to be moved up simply because a mutant wasn't able to be resurrected or was resurrected wrong. Gesturing over here at Gorgon. Maybe this is a nod towards him being replaced as one of the captains. Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. This is probably one of the only other ones that I wasn't terribly certain of. Now, moving on, we have a Sinister Secret revealed, and this one says we don't hear this word spoken often, so when we do, it's best to pay attention, because when you square that circle, what took a long time to build can come crumbling down rather quickly. This is in regards to the upcoming X-Men event Inferno, which is supposed to be a direct sequel to House of X, so duh. Talked about this ad nauseum on the Blerd Cave episode number 110 this past Saturday, so I'll spare you the gory details. Just know that Mystique is about to burn this motherfucker down, and we will likely see Nimrod in some way, shape, form, or fashion get his revenge in some way or another. We will probably also see a lot more of Mora X and more about her lives that we didn't see before in House of X, and maybe answer some of those lingering questions that were created from House of X number 2. Last and most certainly not least is Sinister Secret number 60. What sinister someone has been hard at work studying the vile helix of a vile world? Psst, it's me. Shh. Well, this one is a more obvious one because Sinister just outright spoils. It's him that the secret is referring to, but what specifically is he talking about? I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is very likely a nod to the Locust Vial and Araco, considering that a Sinister who was seemingly killed in Ten of Swords just recently returned in Hellions number 12 and was in fact dissected by Tarn the Uncaring, who is, the leader of the Locust Vial. Me thinks this is what this refers to, and I don't think there's more to it than that. Now, another thing I found curious, and this is not so much a Sinister secret, but I also found it very interesting that at the end of this, when Emma reveals the fireworks promised in Marauders number 21, we see off in the distance where her hand is pointing or gesturing towards a shot of what appears to be two beings who are silhouetted by a blood moon. I don't know who they are. It's hard to tell because it's a very clever silhouette. It's not really giving up too much information. However, the real question is, are they friend? Are they foe? Or are they entertainment? What the hell are they? It's hard to say. But anyways, that was pretty much everything that I think is incredibly important to know and pay attention to in this comic. Yes, there's lots of other little nods and things and people showing up that we're not necessarily expecting to see. There's some really awesome little instances where the artwork that Russell Dodderman's put together is really telling a very interesting story. Not that the other artists that provided art here didn't tell an interesting story, but I just really found it interesting, like just this one shot of Jean go from one page, her eyes closed and her hair kind of in its normal state, and then all of a sudden her hair flowing, her eyes open, and the shot is literally literally the exact same shot, just modified a little. It was very interesting to see, and I'm pretty sure there's other things that'll probably come up later that I might have missed. But that said, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with all your friends so that they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to X-Men and the Hellfire Gala. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about X-Men number 21. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.